Have you been looking for a deck to use Genn Curse King in that isn't Face Hunter for Standard Hearthstone? Well, I have a deck for you. What Genn here does, if your hand is either all even or odd, he'll transform into a minion that has the battle cry, upgrade your hero power, and it costs 1. Which means for Warlock, you get a 1 mana, draw 1 card with no downside, which is pretty good on a consistency for both Dark Gift Warlock and Herald Warlock, both of which most of the cards are actually even. But we'll be running some odd cards, so we're running things like Sheltered Survivor to shuffle those odd cards back into our deck if we draw into Genn accidentally beforehand. Essentially, the game plan here is we're trying to overwhelm our opponent with either the Dark Gift cards or the Herald cards or even just Egg of Kalos, making it very flexible on what it can do depending on the matchup. Now, for the long guide, the first thing to watch out for is going to be Genn. Then you're going to be looking for AoE removal tools if it is going to be something like Druid. No matter what Druid matchup, you're always looking for Tendrils or Hellfire. Then outside of that, you're going to be looking for any of the Herald or Dark Gift packages and any of the draw power cards. Now, with all being said, let's look at some games. Okay, Druid, please don't be Imbue. And theoretically, we should be fine against Imbue, but I think any other Druid matchup, we have a better chance. It's just because Tendrils doesn't do, or Tentacles doesn't do enough to clear out a lot of boards in Imbue, which sucks. Okay, Flipping Roots. Curse Catacombs. I don't think that's worth it. Okay, let's do Creature of Madness. Come on, give me something cool. Ooh. I always want the lifesteal. I know we don't have any shatter cards. I actually would... Okay, so... maybe we do a Paladin list. Divine Shield Paladin. I know that's, like, kind of popular right now. You know what? Actually, I think I have a fun idea for the end of turn Paladin that would be unique for the channel. I'm thinking Imbue. There's going to be a lot of Imbue decks on this channel. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been waiting for the meta to be slow enough where Imbue could actually work. But I think it is technically at that point. I was thinking Imbue end of turn Paladin, because that way, if you can get your hero power all the way up to 10, again, don't mind if I do, and he's instantly triggered because we have every card that's even in our hand. Oh, that feels so nice. Now we get a 1 mana draw 1 for no damage. I do really wish Mountain Giant and such were, like, still in rotation for this deck, though. That was the original idea when I was like, oh yeah, that hero power is actually pretty good. I remember getting to Legend when they brought back Genn and Baku using Hand Lock. But it is what it is, that it's not fully back. Oh, I will take that in a heartbeat. Slam this down there. We get rid of the 4/4. Hero power to get another Tentacles. And we gobble up our little minion here. And they can't really do much because they don't have charge or rush.
Tucked in nice and warm.
Okay, next turn we probably actually use Tentacles because I don't think... oh, wait, actually maybe not. Hellfire is a pretty nice top deck. Okay, give me a 1-cost Death Rattle minion. It's not it. Draw another card. And bye-bye, little raptor. How I will miss ye. Curse change is really cool, though, here. Okay, perfect. That's an interesting top deck. I'm just gonna risk it for the... Oh, actually, it's not risking it because we already have the soldier on board. Let's bounce back one of the tentacles back because we don't really need both of them right now. You know, I realize after they nerf Imbue Druid, Druid's still going to have two very popular decks. Dragon Druid is probably still going to be extremely strong, and Token Druid. Because I don't... Actually, I would not be shocked if they ended up hitting... What is the deck that I'm trying to think? I wouldn't be shocked if they actually hit Token Druid also. But I would be very much shocked if they hit Dragon Druid. Because I think out of the Druid list, that's the most fair feeling to versus. Because it's just Curve Stone. Overheat's annoying, but that's okay. We have tentacles to go for. Okay. I'm gonna pop this. I'm gonna use tentacles, which gets rid of the board. Slam down Creature of Madness. Hopefully, maybe get a charge. I don't want to grab Assistance just because we have the egg almost broken. And we can get that next turn, actually. Close game. A lot closer than I would have expected. I think our opponent here might have given up. Yeah, I don't know how you come back from this, bud. I mean, you can try, but it's not going to go so hot for you. Okay, Conflagrate. Let's see what we can get here. I mean, top of deck. I can't... Yeah, top of deck, then it puts Wallow towards the top. Go face with this minion. Slam this in between there and there. And now we have a 20/20 that they can't deal anything versus, and a pretty big wide board. I think this is just GG, bud.
I concede.
Okay, warrior. There are a few warrior lists floating around right now. I'd be curious which one it is. I'm still trying to make the Varanoth list that I have work. It's definitely going to be one of those things that, honestly speaking, also, we have a date for the balancing patch, which is the 2nd. Which, it's one of those things where I will be out of town, sadly, once it comes out. So there might be a few uploads, and I might not be able to get everything figured out beforehand. I'm going to try to put enough content out so you don't miss me. I'm only going to be gone for a few days, but it's unfortunate timing. Okay, let's see what we can grab off of this. Ooh. I think we want the taunt. Probably should have went with a reborn, but eh. Okay, draw a card. Okay, draw another card. Oh, is this the deck I'm thinking it is? This is a cool deck. Like, if I don't get greedy with it, it is a neat little matchup. It's the, like, control warrior with a bunch of, like, high-cost minions that you're just dragging out of your deck because of the 5-mana spell that basically is the same as Food Fight, but a little bit worse. But if your opponent has some type of minion on board already, aka egg, you can get rid of the downside of that card pretty easily with the Great Draco Rex. So it is that deck. Okay, so I haven't played too much against this list yet, but might be a little bit interesting. Just need to not be super greedy. Also, I know the original plans I had for Herald Warlock were like trying to maximize choke all, like snatching up my opponent's deck. I was just looking for something to do with Genn, and I didn't want to do Face Hunter because that seemed boring, and I kind of wanted to do a Magma Hunter list, but right now that deck cannot compete with Druid, so I just gave up on that list. I have there's a few decks that I have tested that I've given up on already. There's a few ideas that I think are good enough to still showcase, even if they're not like competitive right now. Maybe in a week on the second, once set comes or the balance patch comes out, a lot of them will be a lot better. I'm hoping Genn falls into that category too, because I think this is a real neat idea. Using some like long forgotten cards in the form of the Dark Gift cards, with some of the new cards in the form of Herald cards, plus Genn, who is, at first glance, I thought he did something completely different than he actually does, so I thought it was just a 1-mana discount on the default hero power, which is my bad, I guess. Okay, so if I deal their egg, then use Hellfire, that pops my egg. Oh no! That's my bad. That is definitely my bad. Okay, there's Toll. Execute. It is so funny to me that Execute in 2025 or 6 is actually seen play. Who would have figured? Well, I guess lower power level, and it is like a decent enough remove. It's better than a lot of the removals that are currently in standard, actually, which is depressing to say. Okay, how do I want to do this? Do I want to... We have no way to get the Genn out of our hand is the problem. Or the even cards. I mean, odd. Oh! I mean, every time I slam this card down, I don't think there's ever a game where you don't want to choose it. Because it ruins so many game plans that it isn't even funny. Draw 2. But yeah, I think the Varanoth Warrior list will come out no matter what, but it's going to be a goofy list. A definitely... yeah, I definitely want to put it out. I try to keep the really meme-tastic list to like maybe once a week. I try to weave in good decks and bad decks, and I think this is an alright deck. Like, okay, let's slam this down, and let's slam this one down. Hoping to hit something important. Neither of those cards are important, but that's okay. I do think that's still a fun list. I also kind of hope they... Okay, with me going out of town on the same day as the bouncing patch probably coming out, part of me is like, man, I really hope Blaze gets buffed up, but at the same time, if Blaze gets buffed up, I'm not going to be the first one that will be able to cover it, and then it's not going to do... It is what it is. Maybe it'll just be a bunch of nerfs, and then I can get away with doing some funny stuff. There's a lot of priest lists that I want to do too. Okay, we have the 2013, which is nice. We can just go face. Herald here. But yeah, I was originally planning on making a deck centered around making Shogal go off as much as humanly possible, but I don't think that's feasible currently. Maloriak with the Divergence is still a combo that I want to try out eventually. I just haven't gotten to that either. I need to make that... into a more control-y list. I don't know. A lot of the deck, or the... When coming up with wacky combos, a lot of my default ways to survive long enough to get to the wacky combos is control. But control cards right now are not at the strongest position they've ever been at. So trying to find a way to make some of the more wacky combos work, it has been a little bit of a struggle, which is why we've only really done one since the set came out. We've done like a... The egg list is basically an aggro list. It is a wacky version of that list, but it is at its core aggro. And then the Druid is like... I don't actually know what you want to call it. Druid is just curved stone. Ooh, I'll take the charge in a heartbeat. Get rid of the biggest minion. And summon a dragon. You might as well grab them all. I wish you had the option of not choosing one. I did the Varanoth list that I'm talking about, or I've talked about a few times, is a list where I wish I could not choose the 5 added dragons in the list, but it is what it is. I mean, sure, why not, right? Divine Shield, why not? Pop that down, see what we can get. Maybe additional attack? Oh, I mean... Yeah, might as well get a copy on board. Tortula! I forgot this deck was running that. It makes sense, though. It's a big bungus that is annoying to get rid of. Okay. Baby is number 3. Reborn! Hey. Okay. I'm curious of how this is actually going to work.
No fate.
I think we'll be fine if we put this down right now. I know we're missing one of the heads. Wait a second. Wait, is this actually just the play with Chromatus? You just play him on a full board, and then you don't have to worry about the heads, like, being destroyed to remove the keyword? Wow, I had I had not thought about that before. But I guess that would work, right? Ugh. We're back up to full. Get another copy. We got a board full of untargeted. Well, actually, I think she'll be targetable. Oh, never mind. Untargetable bunguses that when they're destroyed, it won't matter. Okay, I have a play. Trying to get that attack up. Then get that back. Only one limb. Just go face with all of these, and that isn't game, but that's pretty close. I gotta say, we had a pretty good gift of RNG for this game. I don't think that's enough for you to win the game, bud. This deck, I don't know. It definitely is really fun to play. It has its moments, and this is definitely one of those moments. GG there, buddy. GG. Also, really cool deck. I haven't been seeing that. I've just been starting to see the deck, and that is such a cool idea of a deck. Alright, now that we're through the games, let's look at some of my final thoughts of the deck. So, how did this deck perform? Well, certain matchups were really difficult to win. I'm talking about Imbue Druid. If you got lucky with the egg and tentacles before your opponent could get some really big minions with their Imbue hero power, then you could actually win the matchup. But most of the time, since you weren't always going to have those cards, you will end up losing it. But the deck does have some funny win conditions and is quite flexible in the win conditions that it actually has. The Dark Gift package, well, I played it extremely greedy, leading to the 40% win rate that I got over the 30 games, is actually pretty decent right now. It still feels like it's missing some card and it'll probably never get any additional support, but it's really close there. The Herald cards also synergize pretty well with that package anyways, and with Genn himself. And honestly speaking, outside of Face Hunter, this might be one of the better decks to use Genn in. So if you're looking for a deck to use him in, try this one out. However, if you aren't really looking for something to do with this card and aren't really nostalgic for Even Warlock, then maybe skip out on this one. But special thanks to our channel members of Ruben and Daniel Netcemento. If you want to help out the channel a little bit more, you can always join one of the 3 membership tiers. But if you can't afford to do that, there's always leaving a like, comment, subscribing, turning on the notification button, using the hype button. They all help out the channel as much. But until next time, bye-bye.